Have you ever thought of bringing a partner into your business? Wouldn't it be nice to have someone to lean on so all the pressure isn't just on you? Of course, you'd have to share the profits. Like everything, there are pros and cons. In this episode of the Land.MBA podcast, we're going to talk about the reasons for partnering, the prerequisites for making a successful partnership, and the potential risks.
Welcome to the Land.MBA podcast, where we go deep into the business of land investing.
All right. What's happening out there in Connecticut today? Howie?
Another blissful day in paradise. Buying properties, selling properties, and living the dream.
Absolutely. Very good. So we're talking about partnerships today. Why?
I don't know much about it because, I'm only in one partnership right now and it's a complete disaster. So
oh, shit. Hey, tell this guy I really hate him. Okay. Yeah. So very good. Well, you hear a lot of horror stories out there about partnerships, don't you?
I've done more than heard about them. I've witnessed them. I've been, part of some. Sometimes you start out with all the best intentions and everything seems, it's like when you start a project, it's all optimism and and rainbows and unicorns, and then you get into it, as they would say in Vietnam. Once you get into the shit, and the reality starts to go, then you see what people will really do. You find out what people are really made of. And if you haven't got things structured and set up correctly at the beginning, when you hit those bumps in the road, it can become quite the nightmare.
Sure. Yeah. And I've certainly heard the stories. I haven't, I've been in another partnership that didn't work out, but it wasn't a nightmare. Our business model just wasn't really necessarily built for a partnership. We kind of had an issue with, it just didn't make sense to split things that many ways. But we ended up, just kind of deciding, going our separate ways quietly. We're still friends. We actually still do business together in other ways. We're just not partners anymore. And I think sometimes, if you look at the rate of failure of small business in the United States, was it the partnership or was it just the business and failure on both partners to execute? So I think the truth kind of falls somewhere in between, right? Somewhere in the middle sometimes, but certainly there are, pros and cons. There's a lot of good reasons. And then I think, as we've been talking about, there's certain prerequisites that should be met to make a good partnership. So you want to talk about the reasons first or the criteria?
Well, I think it's like anything in business. Before you do something, you have to know why you're doing it. I like this business. I love the land business. And, wouldn't it be, maybe it'd be nice to do it with somebody else who's a friend of mine, bring them into the business. But that's not really a compelling reason to have somebody in the business. The reason to take on a partner would normally be because you're trying to fill in a gap that you have that's holding you back from achieving the success you can achieve or the success that you want to achieve. That could be, it could be an issue related to funding. It could be an issue related to skills. It can be an issue related to interests. It could be an issue related to time. So when you look at all of the things that you would need to do to be successful in your business, if you don't have all of those things, then that might be a compelling reason to have a partner. One of the reasons might be, and this is something I might actually know a little bit of something about, let's just say you're a bit ADD and you suffer from a little bit of shiny object syndrome. And you're like, oh, I am so into this land business. And then all of a sudden, cryptocurrencies. And
Amazon.
Party on, wait. So, and you think, maybe you actually need somebody whose job it really is to rein you in and keep you focused. Because that if you're focused, you've got the energy, you've got the will, you got the knowledge, whatever it is, the motivation to succeed. But, without somebody else to sort of help you and keep you on the right road, you'll start strong and finish weak. So there are a lot of reasons why a partnership can be the right thing for you, but you need to understand what that why is for you before you would even entertain such a thing.
First of all, you talk about the skills. I think it's important that there's a yin and a yang. If you're two operational partners, maybe you're both kind of financially into the business equally, but you're partnering because, for example, one has very strong marketing skills, the other doesn't. The other might have strong analytical numbers skills, the other one doesn't. And or sales, any of those types of business skills that you greatly need. Now, you can certainly hire people, and you should hire people in places where you suck at or you just don't like. We talk about that all the time with regards to eliminate, automate, and delegate. But it's also fun. It's more fun when you have someone to celebrate with. It's nice to have somebody that, if one of you is a big risk taker, it's nice to have someone that maybe holds you back at times. Or if you're the opposite, you're really, really too risk averse, you might have that partner that pushes you. No, we should do this. We need to take this little bit of risk. We need to make an investment here in our marketing spend or whatever. So there's all of those great things with regards to complementary skill sets and some of the advantages to having a partner.
Is it just me, or is it getting harder and harder to count on a job for our financial security? Who would have ever believed that we would go from the lowest unemployment in 50 years to 40 million people unemployed? Whether you have a great job and want to create a second income, or you're recently unemployed, you need to check out Land.MBA, your one-stop shop for land investors. Investing in vacant land is a proven business model that can help you build a reliable and scalable second income. Imagine a business where you love what you do. There's no limit on how much money you can make. You can operate your business from anywhere in the world with an internet connection. And best of all, you can never be fired or downsized. If this sounds good to you, Land.MBA provides everything you need to get your business up and running and delivering income quickly. You get education, an end-to-end video course and optional coaching to help you get started faster and turn your energy into income. You get tools so you can automate and outsource the busy work and stay super organized. You get access to a thriving community of like-minded investors, which is a powerful way to share best practices and develop potential partnerships for growing your business. And finally, you get access to deal financing, so you never have to pass on a great investment opportunity due to limited funds. Our team has over a decade of real estate investing experience and has the knowledge and experience you need to help navigate any investing scenario. And with Land.MBA, we hold nothing back. Because there are no upsells, you get access to all of our combined knowledge right out of the gate. So don't wait to provide your family with financial freedom. Sign up today for Land.MBA's Soup to Nuts Land Investing video course. Just go to courses.land.mba and use coupon code FREEDOM to get 25% off. That's courses.land.mba and coupon code FREEDOM. And let us help you say goodbye to your job and hello to financial freedom. You just said something that's really interesting. So there's complementary skill sets, and then there's complementary styles, I guess is maybe we can call it, right? So one person's a risk taker, one person's not a risk taker. One person is, very detail oriented. The other person is a big picture person. And so there's a couple problems. One is that we naturally gravitate to people who are more like us. And there could be a tendency, even when we choose partners, to find people who are like us because, oh, I like you, you're just like me. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot more value in finding somebody who's not like you that provides those complementary approaches. The problem is that can create a very frustrating experience. And so you have to figure out what your sort of working model is, what your working together model is, so that you can each, express, your strengths without completely frustrating the other person.
Yeah. And that comes to the sales principle of know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
I mean, trust is absolutely probably the most critical item there is. And to know that your partner has integrity and is going to be honest with you, and even if they screw something up, but you don't build, but you build that trust through getting to know them. So you build the trust, and then hopefully you also get to like them enough. You have to not know that you have to like them enough. You don't have to love them, because you can have a partner, you can do business with somebody who, you get to know them, and you trust that even if they have some quirks maybe that bug you, you can get over that, because at the end of the day, you trust that they're going to do the right thing. They're going to have your back. They're going to support you. And you can have some dialogue to where you can critique each other as well and not get offended.
In the hierarchy of relationships, there's sort of like there's your spouse / girlfriend, and then down here maybe are your acquaintances. One up from acquaintances are your friends, but between friends and spouses, that's where your business relationships sit, because you both have personal stake in this, and what the other person does has an absolute impact on your life, much more than a friend. I can hang out with people that I think are quirky in all kinds of weird ways, and I could love them for it. And it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, they go to their house, I go to my house. It doesn't have that much bearing on my life. But if my money and my ability to support my family is tied up in this relationship, that's a whole different ballgame. And my ability to tolerate quirkiness is much different than if it was just a friend.
Yeah, true. Yeah, what are some other key principles that you think you've got to have? We've talked about complementary skills, having the same goals, of course, as well. That's really important.
I think that is the heart and soul of a successful relationship, a partnership. If you do not, at the beginning of it, the first thing you have to do is you have to say, what do you want out of this business? And if you guys don't want, or gals want, the same thing out of this business, then it won't work. It doesn't matter how good friends you are. It doesn't matter how much trust is there. It doesn't matter how much you're both people of integrity. It just doesn't matter, because your goals are different. And at some point in time, you're going to be called upon to make a decision, and you're going to want to make very, very different decisions. And again, this is your life that's tied up into these decisions. It's a hard thing to do. If you're doing, depending upon the kind of business it is, let's just say it was a technology business, right? One person says, you know what, I want to create this business in such a way that it basically becomes kind of like an ATM machine, and it pays for my lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle business, and I really want to, I love it. I'm up with the business and the brand, and I would love to be able to pass this on to my kids someday, so that he can run it or she can run it. And the other person says, no, we want to ramp up the valuation as high as we can, as fast as we can, so we can sell it in 5 years for a huge payout and then go retire for the rest of our lives. Both of those are perfectly fine outcomes, or perfectly fine exit. Well, one's an exit strategy, one's not really an exit strategy, but they're incredibly different. And they're different in how you run the business, and they're different in how you try to, and when an opportunity presents itself, how you're gonna decide on that opportunity. And if you guys are not on the same page, it just isn't going to work.
Yeah, those are definitely the right exit strategy is key. And I think most businesses start up without a clear exit strategy. And then they kind of, develop it as they go. And so you could have everything in alignment and get down the road with this partner and have those diverging exit strategy goals. So it's really important, I think, to define some of those things in the beginning so you don't get blindsided by misunderstandings.
Yes, that's when you get sort of past the infatuation stage, and now you're actually in a marriage, and you're like, if I have to listen to this person chew their food one more time, that's it. I'm going to come out of here.
Yeah, exactly. That's one advantage for us. We're on opposite sides of the country. We only meet virtually.
Never have to listen to you chew your food. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, we did say that. We did today. We both jumped on while we were eating lunch. Hey folks, my name is David Van Steenkist, and I've been a real estate investor for over 10 years. I've used lots of different tools, but none of them has done for my business what Land.MBA does. Land.MBA covers every step in the land investing process, from ordering mailing lists to marketing, sales, and closing the deal. What I really like, though, is it anticipates my needs. When I think, oh, I wish I had a quick and easy way to evaluate return on investment on a potential property, look no further, Land.MBA does it. If I want to edit a deed after Land.MBA creates it, it can do that too. Most systems just stick you with a PDF that's uneditable, and you got to go back into the system and edit the fields and do whatever you need to do, and it's a real pain in the rear end. Land.MBA simplifies it. If I want to send 1 or 5 or even 40 neighbor letters at the click of a button, bam, Land.MBA does it. But even with all that inherent capability, you get access to Land.MBA community, you get weekly mastermind calls, and you get the best mailing rates in the business with no volume commitment, which is freaking awesome. Because if I just want to pop one contract to somebody, I don't have to pay $1.50. I still pay the bargain basement rate. And on top of that, customer service is stellar, quick, and they just do a great job. I've been very, very happy, very pleased with it. And look, I've been running my business on Land.MBA for over 2 years. So take it from me. If you're serious about your land business, then check out Land.MBA at facebook.com/landbizautomation. That's Land, B-I-Z automation. And if you want $100 off, tell them you heard it from me, David Van Steenkist, on the Land.MBA podcast. That's awesome. I heard I don't want to go down a different rabbit trail, but I just want to mention this quick statistic I recently heard about through a business coach, and he was talking about the fact with the baby boomers right now retiring and a lot of them needing to sell their businesses. There are over $13 trillion worth of small businesses that need to get sold for some of these people to retire. And I wonder how many of those intermingled, non-aligning exit strategies there are where, one partner just, hey, it pays me. I'm just going to do this till I die. And the other's like, I don't want to work anymore, dude. I want to sell this thing. Yeah. And because there's so much of that, a lot of these business owners are really going to have a hard time selling their businesses for what they need to sell them for.
Especially now.
Yeah, especially if they got to sell today, for sure. So what are some other good reasons for starting a business and or being a partner, and what are some bad reasons, Howard, that you can think of? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say there are so many reasons for wanting to do it. I mean, I've always wanted to have a partner, because what typically happens, say in my case, is I'll discover a new business idea or come up with a new idea, and I'm just I become obsessive. I'm complete fire and brimstone on it, and I just can't stop. And then, of course, there's the shiny object of the next thing, and I start to lose focus a little bit. And I've always wanted that partner, so that, because I find that when I'm talking about a topic, whether it's, the business in general or a specific thing that we have to do in the business, when I'm talking to somebody else, it just completely engages me and gets my brain engaged. If I have to sit there and do it by myself, my brain's not quite as engaged. And on top of it, when I talk to somebody else, I say something and then they give me feedback, And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't even thought about that. And, I really think partnership is a truly an example of 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, the two heads are better than one. I think
100%.
we experience that in our partnership every day. Every day we get on and we collaborate. You've got an idea, I get an idea, and when we mix them together, we always come out with something better. You teach me stuff every day. I sometimes teach you stuff. I think it's
More than you
really.
know. But
we're 12.
But the other thing is that, sometimes you come up with this idea and you get in love with it right away. Like this, I was like, Dave, got to hear this. This is going to be freaking great. And then I say it to you and you're like, okay, have you thought about this? And then all of a sudden, the veneer starts to fall off the idea because there's all these things that I hadn't thought about because I was too passionately in love with the idea that I hadn't thought deeply enough about it. And there's huge value in that.
Yeah, you beat it up. Sometimes you take something that you thought was so great and you throw it in the trash can, and vice versa. You think you got a crappy idea, but here I'll throw it out to you, and then the other person loves it, and maybe you put a twist on it, and it becomes great.
It's Twitter.
It spurs greater creativity and innovation, and just to have somebody else's perspective is really healthy. But you also got to have that mindset too, where you leave your ego at home and you can allow yourself to be criticized, and those are skills that we have to develop in ourselves in order to be successful with a partner as well.
I think that is a hugely important point you just made there. Again, it's a relationship, and it's not that much different than a spousal relationship. Is you're talking about important things that both parties are going to really care about because it's their business, it's their ability to just make money, support their family, and the rest. So these are things people care about, and if you are, and I say you, capital Y, whoever we're talking to, doesn't have the when you look in the mirror, you say, look, I know what I like, and I don't want to have to share my decisions. I don't want somebody to be able to veto the decision that I make. I got to run the show. That's fine. If you know that about yourself, self-awareness is everything. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you're not the right person for a partnership. But if you want to have a successful partnership, just like you said, Dave, it takes humility. It takes a thick skin. I find that what makes it work with us, and what makes and I think this is kind of, I don't want to sound sexist or anything, but this is kind of part and parcel of male relationships. Is that we just can look at each other and say, "God, you're an idiot," and nobody takes offense to that, right? That to me is like what makes it work. Because I can be an idiot, and I know that. So the fact that you pointed out to me, I don't personally take offense to it at all.
Exactly. We were going back and forth on a graphic design this morning, and a video that I did, and he had some critiques, and I explained the messages behind it. Okay, yeah, I understand now. But then there was one part, and I said, dude, he told me to just go with it, and I said, well, now hang on, I don't get offended. I can tweak some of it, just and then he said, okay, yeah, do this little bit. Cool, done. We got through it, and it was awesome.
It took me only 20 years of marriage to figure out these two really important things for a relationship. I probably would have had a much happier 20 years if I had learned these things much earlier in life. But the first thing that I had to learn was, and this was hard, I had to learn that I wasn't always right. That was hard. But then after I learned that, I had to learn that there's more than one way to skin a cat. And just because the other person has a different approach to solving a problem than the one I have, so long as we identify the same problem, and we identify the same endpoint we're trying to get to, it doesn't matter if somebody takes a different path to get there.
And you like this software, I like that software. Same result, though, at the end of the day. And
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the picture hanging model with my wife. Well, sometimes we can't hang a picture together, but we've, finally, after years of marriage, have realized that, okay, you know what? As long as either idea gets us to the same point, sometimes you just gotta back off and say, it's fine, we'll do it your way. It'll get us the same way. I do it a different way, but that's okay. Yeah. The one final point. So we've kind of talked about, we've stayed on where you're kind of in a partnership like we are, where it's two active operational people with complementary skill sets, etc. But then sometimes you also have a money partner and a 100% operational partner. We can talk a little bit about that, but I wanted to just mention one thing as well before we get onto that, and that is risk taking. Sometimes you have someone who just doesn't want to spend money, even though they have the money. They don't want to cut loose on making an investment. Maybe it's a marketing plan, investing in some new funnels, whatever. And so one can either encourage the other to, yes, let's go ahead and make this investment, or it could be the opposite. Sometimes one is just ready to jump out of the chute, and the other one's holding the other one back. Hey, let's have a little restraint here. So you can really work together in that realm as well when you get to know your partner a little bit better. So, what do you think about money partners, though, Howard?
Well, I think money partners could play a huge role, and there's different kinds of money partners. I mean, there's just going out and getting, there's a lot of ways to get funding for a business, but if you want a partner where there's an equity relationship, but they're contributing the money, you're contributing the sweat equity. They talk about just your basic money partner, but the term that I've always liked is smart money. And if you're going to go after a money partner, you really want smart money. You want somebody who's got either experience or relationships, they got the Rolodex, or they're bringing something to the table, because it's not just money. Money right. People they're going to end up being guided by the spreadsheet. They're going to be looking at the P&L and the balance sheet and the cash flow statement. And that's good. That will provide a level of discipline to the business. But they also need to understand the operations of the business. And if they've got some been there, done that, and they can actually provide valuable guidance and advice to you on how to operate the business, even though you're going to be doing it, that's much more valuable, because if they don't have that, you could easily find yourself in the situation where you don't have the same goals. Yeah.
And in that case, especially, in real estate, you're better off to just, if it's a pure money partner, then you're better off to just find a deal to deal partner where they're just partnering with you on the deal. So you've got, deal to deal partners, but then you've got your actual partner where you're sharing the business, and one acts as the financial and consultant as well to you on the areas where you need it. Exactly. I like the way you explain that. Because if you can also have where you talked about the person that's just going to look at the spreadsheet. Well, and then you don't want them to get too much into your business either. There's got to be this kind of distancing where they allow you to spread your wings and run the business. And so long as you're, hitting certain goals and metrics that you both agreed to, they're totally hands off. It's just a consultancy role and funding the business.
Well, they're hands off unless they have in their head a different exit strategy than you do.
Then it's a problem.
Then it's a problem.
Yeah. Very good. Well, we're just about out of time. I think we can end on that unless you have anything else to add.
No, I don't. if you want to know, if you ever want to look at just probably the most successful partnership you've ever seen, well, you're looking at it right here. So that's
all
it.
right.
Well, thanks, Dave. This was good.
All right, cool. All right. Adios, everybody. Peace out. We'll talk to you. Oh, wait a minute. By the way, before I forget, if you are interested in consulting or coaching in your land business, please look up Land.MBA. Also, check out LandSpeed. We'll talk to you soon.
Right.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, had a bit of fun, and walked away with some actionable insights that you can apply to your business. Dave and I have got some great content and interviews planned, so don't forget to rate and review, and of course subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. If we mention any interesting links or tools, you'll find them in the show notes. To learn more about Land.MBA, visit our website at, wait for it, Land.MBA. See you next time on the Land.MBA Podcast.